Hello everyone and welcome back to another illustration video. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my all-time favorites, especially just in straight up concept, and that's going to be Gauntlet Legends. This was released on all kinds of platforms, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, arcades. I don't know if there's any other ports. I'm sure there was all kinds of stuff, but the super fun thing about this was the idea of incorporating four players into what you were doing. For the Nintendo 64, this was especially absolutely perfect. I loved the look of the cartridge. For some reason, putting that, dragon monster on the label instead of the box art, I don't know, I just love when there's two different things to look at. The more art involved with a project, the better, and this one had some fantastic art. So I'm gonna take my shot here at illustrating these four characters based on some of those classic fantasy archetypes. Very D&D esque, high fantasy, medieval, Lord of the Rings type stuff, and I loved the color element that was present in Gauntlet. When I was a kid, I did not know that this was a series with other games, with older games. I thought Gauntlet Legends was like this new thing that came out that was just completely unheard of, and for all I knew, it was Power Rangers and Lord of the Rings put together, and who could say no to a combo like that? So, if I remember correctly, you could pick a class, but you could also change the colors. So, regardless of what was on the box art, you didn't have to just be the red warrior. If you wanted it to be yellow, you could toggle and make that adjustment. So I stuck with the originals as they were on the box. You can see here I'm looking at some of those older Gauntlet sprites before I decided to go with the N64 color models. But I decided to stick with the original ones on the box. So we went with a red warrior here. Went with kind of this spiked, horned mace club type thing. Put some extra detail on that skull across the belt that I thought was very fun. This has a very He-Man esque feel to it, obviously, but I still think it's just a super fun project to work on. I love the idea of character classes and stat building and RPG elements and RPGs that you can play with multiple people in a local setting. That's not as common as it used to be. There are plenty of those that are online, but to play this like action RPG four-player thing in its time, pretty cool. So yeah, so first we've got the red warrior here. I decided to do something a little different and put my illustrations in fake TVs, like the characters were like filling up the whole screen. I kind of picture some song playing in the background as it kind of flashes the different classes across as you're starting the game up. I always loved watching those little FMVs or whatever they had to start off a game before just like, zooming through, pressing start, and trying to get to playing. But next we've got a yellow wizard here. Compared to the last pose, I feel like this one might be a little bit more stiff for me, but I do like a lot of the details that I had here. I wanted to keep everything obviously a consistent size within itself in a relative proportion, and I think I accomplished that, but I like some of the poses I end up coming up with better than others, but this is okay. This will get the job done. I found these renders that were from what I assume would have been like some type of like ad that maybe was sent to stores or posters that would have hung up in like a Toys R Us or something. Renders that might have been, maybe some of those ads in Nintendo Power were super cool. I don't know where that one was specifically featured, um, but I thought it had some really nice colors and really shows off the characters really well. There, I also just love the logo. Something about those two things together, Gauntlet Legends. I love the title. I love when the title communicates the feeling right away. So here is our yellow wizard, very Pharaoh esque. I cannot remember what character I used to play in this game, but based on how the Pharaoh is looking, that would have been a strong contender for me. Um, I probably would have either gone wizard or archer, I'm not sure. But before we get to the archer, we'll take a look at the blue. I want to say it was a Valkyrie, and this was kind of a good, like, all around class, the Valkyrie was. So, got some details on the shield there and on the front of the boots. Honestly, it looks a little, the details that I decided to incorporate there look a little Legend of Zelda to me, but I think that's okay. These were coming out around the same time, so um, having some of those design elements crossover, I think is totally fine. The blues that they selected in this game really pop nicely. We know with the gold armor, I think it makes for a nice color combo. I think sometimes it depends on the character and it depends on what you did, but as you kept the same class but toggled the different color, one of the things that was really nice was that like even like the hair color would change, right? So that the visual contrast was always present no matter what you were selecting. I don't know if this was like to differentiate you from the other player or from the levels or what, but I just thought it was a nice, fun way to pay extra attention to detail. Like I could have gone through all of these classes and done all of the color palette swaps for them, and I'll keep the files for these illustrations, obviously. So if I ever have a need to do something like that, I'll have that available. This one you can see I did not end up sketching out a ton from the beginning, but I was like, wait, I like the energy here. I can see what I'm going for. Let's just fire this up in the iPad and see what I can come up with. So you'll see, I'm starting to put things in, even though I don't have all of that information there. And then I actually used um, another layer in the iPad to try and um, create a base sketch that was over. So normally I do things in pencil on paper first, take a picture, put that in the iPad, and kind of render from there. I don't love sketching on the iPad as much as I love doing the finished illustrations there, so that's something I'm still trying to work on for sure. So this one was a little bit more hybrid for this final image. This was the order that I worked on the four in as well. So I started with the warrior, wizard, Valkyrie, and then finished up with the archer. I think the colors here are super cool. The highlights at the end really, really sell that green nicely. I did the white outline there. I thought that really helped things kind of jump off the page at the end. And of course, through that classic kind of background character select there. Um, on the fake television I've got modeled. So I wanted to incorporate one thing with all four characters, and so I ended up selecting the press start, new game screen. The fact that it was in 4:3 I think worked for what I was doing. I took away the white outlines, added some scan lines across the illustrations, made sure the color temperatures were like balanced and differentiated, and I think we've got a nice touch here. The warrior might look a little too golden. I mean, he is standing close to the fire, but I didn't really take that into account for the lighting of the other characters. But overall, I think you get a nice, I mean, obviously you know what you're looking at here. You're looking at high fantasy, party adventure, just a ton of fun. Just a really classic game across all of those classic nostalgic systems, and 4-player local games at the time. Super, super cool. Really fun set to illustrate. This is the third part of my video game illustration series, so we'll see you for, as usual, at least 2 more, and I'll keep that set of 5 going. See you in the next one.